Life Audio.
This could change everything. Hi, it's Amanda Carroll on the Get Your Brave On podcast, episode 29. 3 ways to stop quiet quitting and turning off autopilot for your faith and your life. And before we get into the episode, real quick, go to getyourbraveon.info and download the free Brave Life Planner. This will help you change everything. If you feel like you're coasting and you're not getting anywhere and you've got these dreams, but you don't know how to get them, I wrote it all down for you. It's my system that I use every single morning to boot up my bravery. And now you can use it too. I was stuck in fear as a single mom with 3 little kids, and I had to rebuild my life. It's how to set a goal and how to every single morning write it down, write your date, come up with pathways, and then choose one brave thing a day. So it's not so overwhelming. Download the whole plan for free. It comes with a video on how to use it at getyourbraveon.info. Do me a favor right now and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes. And if you can too, leave a review because I will give you a shout out on the next episode like lovely Lori. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You made my day. She said, this podcast gives me hope and moves me to boldness. I'm so grateful for your podcast, Amanda. My life has had so many plot twists. The ending of a 33-year marriage. I'm so sorry. Empty nesting, having to support myself after being a business partner and homeschool mom. That's just a glimpse of my last few years. Wow, that is a lot. She says, your podcast gives me hope and encouragement to keep going, to move forward, and to get my brave on. Yes, I love it that you use the phrase. She says, I know God isn't finished with my story yet. I am believing for a better tomorrow. I'm believing right there with you. Man, Lori, that's what this podcast is all about. Leave a review and I will shout you out in the next episode. This is a very powerful episode and it's a little risky. I am the Get Your Brave On girl. I'm doing this one solo because I got a lot to say about what's been going on personally in my life and how I'm working through it. I had a friend tell me one time, Amanda, why don't you stop doing things small? I was living this limited life as a single mom with 3 kids thinking, oh, I can't buy a house. I'll do that when I get married. No, I did. I ended up buying a house on my own. Still own that house on my own. Other things, I just didn't think I could get a full-time job outside of my home as a single parent because who would take my kids to school? I figured it out. I was able to work part-time and work from home and get a nanny and help out. All of those things came together. We limit ourselves so much in our relationship with God and in our life because we don't fully believe that God can do what he can do. So here's how you can break through and finally believe that God cares about you, that he really does want to be involved in your life, and he really can change your life if you let him. You might have heard about quiet quitting. I heard this term recently. It was about people that really don't like their jobs, but they don't take the effort to go get a new job and they just kind of coast. They don't really do everything. They just do everything at a very basic level at their job because they know they're going to keep it because most likely their employer can't get someone to replace them right now. But that's not okay. And then I saw how we spend 10 years of our lives on autopilot. That's not okay either. That's the majority of Americans, that we get to a hard phase in our life. I get it. I've been there. And we just decide, you know what, I'm just going to coast because I can't take this anymore. And we end up wasting 10 years cumulatively over our life when we put ourselves on coast because we're afraid of something. No. That's what this podcast is all about, giving you specific tools on how to not quiet quit, how to not be on autopilot, and maximize your belief and your faith in God to achieve the life that you've really dreamed. So the number one thing you can do to stop quiet quitting in life is have the audacity to say the big prayer. I call this the audacity prayer. So often in life, we pray only the prayers that we think God can answer because we're afraid that if we really put it out there on the line, what if God doesn't answer it and that's going to challenge my faith? But what if he does? I remember when I was a single mom and I was working from home at this small radio network and just kind of barely making it. But I had 3 little kids that I couldn't leave alone. And I was a single parent and trying to figure things out and extremely frustrated with the current situation that my life was in back then. And I had a friend say, well, why don't you just stop doing things small? Why don't you just stop praying small prayers? Why don't you start praying the big prayer? It's like, you're right. It's like, what do you really want? So, well, I really would like a national radio show. Like, I would like to be one of the best in the business. And I really would like to have a great podcast. I really would like to have a book and do speaking engagements and events. That was 6 years ago. The other day, I came across that list. I wrote it down in my phone in the notes and I took a screenshot of it. And I have that Time Hop app on my phone that I check every day. It shows me all my memories of pictures taken that day. And I saw that screenshot 6 years later. And I realized that because I stopped doing things small and I started having the audacity to pray for what I truly wanted in life, I accomplished all of those things. And I hadn't even realized it until I saw that screenshot. So my friend, there is so much power in saying the audacity prayer. There's something you desperately want in your life. The person that can help you get it is our Father in heaven. He's the one, man. I mean, yes, it takes your effort and it takes you doing all the things that you need to do. But what if today you stopped quiet quitting on your faith, you got out of autopilot in your life and you just said, you know what, God, I really want the relationship of my dreams. I'm believing that you're going to bring it to me. Or God, I really need to get out of this tough financial situation. I am sick of it living paycheck to paycheck. I need you to help me get to that next level. I believe you can. Okay, great. That comes to the second lesson. The second lesson on how to stop quiet quitting on faith and getting out of autopilot in our life is believe. Believe. I was talking with my friend Ben Fuller. He's been a recent guest on the podcast. You got to check him out. He is an amazing Christian artist right now touring with Zach Williams. And I had a big prayer request and he's the one I call. I'm like, I need help. And he said, Amanda, you know what you need to do for this situation? The situation with my daughter is you need to believe with your whole heart that she's healed. It's not just like beg God and like maybe think that he could do it. But you need to believe with your whole heart that it's already done. Because that's the thing about our prayers, our big prayers, the audacity prayer. God hears it. We know that. God says he answers our prayer and supplication in his son's name. It's just a timing issue. That's all it is that we have to wait on. So I got to read this to you. So I looked it up after my conversation with Ben about what do you mean believe with my whole heart? Like I feel like I do, but what really is that? Okay, got to get my reading glasses in. It's Deuteronomy 4, starting at verse 29. But if from there you will seek, inquire for, and require as necessity, the Lord your God, you will find him if you truly seek him with all your heart and mind and soul and life. When you are in tribulation, and all these things will come upon you. Okay, I read the Amplified version of the Bible. That's why it's got lots of extra words. Truly seek him with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul and all your life. Put your whole heart in to believing that it is possible. If you're still like, oh, Amanda, like my audacity prayer, like, I don't know. Like, I'm afraid to even say this prayer. Do I really deserve this? Here's the deal. Think about the people that Jesus helped in the Bible. Were all of them perfect? Not at all. No. And think about the actions that Jesus did. You serve a God that used mud to give sight to the blind. You serve a God that parted the Red Sea so his people could be safe. You serve a God that turned water into wine at a wedding. He can change your life too. You also serve a God that raised from the dead. So don't you think whatever dream that you've put on coast or that you've quiet quit on, don't you think he can raise that up for you? If you had the audacity to pray and believe that he could do it. This has changed my prayer life completely. This concept of not begging God for things, but talking to him in a confident expectation of good things. Saying, God, please, if I'm good enough, please help me with my finances. Please heal my daughter. Please, please, please. He's like, I can. I need you to have faith. When you think about all the stories of healing in the Bible, I think about the paralyzed man and the 4 friends that tore off the roof to get him to Jesus to be healed so he can walk again. And it was because of his faith. By your faith, you are healed. I think about the woman who was bleeding and wouldn't stop. And she went to see Jesus because she heard that he could heal. And she reaches out to him. And he didn't even know she had touched his robe. And she was healed. And Jesus turns around. He's like, what just happened? Who touched me? This is my paraphrase version of it. It is I. He felt the power of himself healing her, but he didn't do it intentionally. It was her act of faith because she believed he could do it and she reached out to him and touched him. That's how she got healed. It is by your faith, by your belief that it is possible for God to answer your Audacity, brave prayer, that he will be able to answer it because he needs you to believe. The third way you can stop quiet quitting on your faith and get the life you've always wanted is meditate as if that thing that you want, your Audacity prayer, has already been answered. I call this act as if. There's a whole chapter in my book that's coming out in August about this. Acting as if your prayers have already answered. Because that's what he says, right? You come to me, I will take care of you. I will give you rest. I will ease your burdens. Ask for whatever it is that you want in my son's name, and it shall be granted to you. I don't think he wants us second guessing him. I think he wants his sons and daughters coming to say, God, I know you know this is going on. I believe you are right here with me and you are helping me. There's many, many examples in the Bible of Jesus going away and praying and meditating. So this is what I do. I manifested my book through meditation. It took me 10 years to get this publishing deal because I was on autopilot for so many years as a single mom. I just didn't think I deserved it. I didn't think I could do it. I had so many responsibilities that I just couldn't even hardly breathe or sleep at night. But I just started, after I wrote down those goals, I started during my prayer life, closing my eyes and kind of meditating with God there and imagining those prayers already answered. So here's an example. So I closed my eyes in the morning and listened to some great music. And I imagined Jesus and I walking into the Barnes & Noble bookstore and seeing my book on the shelf of the new and notables. And I could see the cover of it. I can see it right now. I haven't even seen the cover design yet. I was so excited. And I look at him and he looks at me and we say, see, we did it. We did it. God helped us change so many lives. And then I feel the emotion as if my dream is already happening. And then I go on with my day. See, what you have done is that believe with your whole heart and soul thing. You've just trained your heart and your soul that your prayer has been answered because you felt the emotion of it. And you know what it will feel like when it happens. So you're not quiet quitting on your faith anymore. This is faith in action, believing in what you can't see. Isn't that beautiful? Man, I would love to hear if this works for you. I always love to hear from you. And I don't often give out my phone number on the podcast, but why not? It's a phone number for my show, 530-4AMANDA. I would love to hear from you, and we can include this in a bonus episode after this podcast. What is it that you're having the audacity to pray after you've heard this? What is it that you're believing with your whole heart that God is going to do for you? And what is it that you're meditating on that you and God are experiencing together as if your prayer is already answered? Would you have the audacity, the get your brave on energy to call me with that? It's 530-4AMANDA. I would love to hear from you. And I hope this little whole heart lesson revolutionize your faith as this process has revolutionized mine. Because I don't know about you, but I grew up in an extremely conservative environment, and I grew up kind of scared of God. And I thought he would only answer my prayers if I was good enough. It wasn't the truth. It was well-meaning. It's just old-fashioned. And now, in my adult life, when my relationship with God became personal, I realized that he wants us to hold our head up high. He wants us to be proud of him And he wants us to put our faith on the line because he wants to show you how big he can be in your life if we just let him. That, Brave Babe, is how you can get your Brave on today. And real quick, one more thing. Go to getyourbraveon.info and download my free Brave Life Planner. It will help you every single morning boot up your bravery. You've got this Audacity prayer now that you're going to want to believe and pray over and meditate over. This is the system to help you be accountable to do it every single day. I've shown you how to do it. It's got a fillable PDF plus a video that shows you exactly how to decide to get your Brave on every single morning. Get it for free at getyourbraveon.info. Thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. And if you could, if something about this was really inspiring and you know a friend who could really use it, copy the link and send it in a text to them. That would mean the world to me. So that's my life's mission, to inspire people to live a strong and courageous life. Also want to say thanks to my friends at lifeaudio.com. They have amazing podcasts on prayer, Bible study, parenting, and more. Check them out, lifeaudio.com.
Miracles are everywhere.
Let our adventure begin!
Discover PureFlix, your premium streaming service where faith and family values come home.
Ready to have some fun?
The most exclusive selection of quality, wholesome movies and series that will uplift your spirit.
A man can argue whether God exists, but when he looks at his daughters, he knows.
With new arrivals every week.
Unbelievable.
Save big and enjoy the possibilities, like invitations to exclusive theatrical screenings.
I see it, so I believe it.
Find out more by joining today at pureflix.com.
Don't miss Plato's Closet's Coat and Boot event this weekend. They're releasing an incredible selection of coats and boots, all at gotta-have-em prices. So shop early this weekend for the best selection. Plato's Closet has the cool weather style essentials you need, but at prices up to 70% less than retail. So don't miss your chance to snag coats and boots for less during Plato's Closet's Coat and Boot event this weekend. Plato's Closet Killeen is located on Central Texas Expressway. Find us online for more information.